Welcome to Wesley Woods. We are in the woods today, John.
Yes, Chip. We are at the Sunset Chapel. It's an outdoor chapel here in main camp. Just faces the west where the sun sets. I think that's how it got its name. It's just west of the pool or Buxton Lodge, down in the woods, going down the hill area. This chapel was built probably around when they first built the camp. I don't have the exact date on it, but it had 2 rows of benches, and then it used to have a nice altar here with these stones right here in front of it. And we took them out to save them. And then it used to have a
Podium or
podium type, place for someone to talk and place their Bible or their notes and give Bible studies or preach to the crowd. Thing about the altar was it was made out of sandstone. The sandstone actually came from the camp, from what I understand, because there used to be a quarry, a sandstone quarry, just over here to my right, probably about 500 feet or so. Before it was a camp, they used to quarry limestone out of here, and this whole hill right here is sandstone too, believe it or not, because when we dug holes for this deck here, it go down about 2 foot, and we hit some pretty hard stuff, and then we hit some pretty crumbly stuff.
So putting those posts in for the bench seats was a lot of fun.
Yes, it's always a lot of fun. Better to do it in the spring when the ground's a little bit softer. And also there's another quarry over on the other side of this ridge on a quabbie, and I don't know which side they got it, but supposedly sandstone was quarried to make the first courthouse building in Indianola. And sandstone, as most people know, sort of soaks up water, so when it freezes it sort of falls apart, and so that's probably why they've been rebuilding the courthouse a couple different times. I don't know. But that's why we had to rebuild the altar. The water was getting into it and it was sort of falling apart. And we got this deck here through Simpson College community service class. They went out in the community and found a need, and they raised money, and they somehow found us, and we told them we needed a deck here because this chapel is used for weddings, used for different camp events here, like an Easter service that they have once a week.
Yeah. The Friday we culminate the week-long session with an Easter service on Friday morning. We talk about the sacrifice that Christ made on the cross during the week, and what we have with the risen Christ in our salvation. So that happens here. A lot of good conversation happens here through the week, and chapel services as well, and getting together in small groups in Bible study, as well as the events that come down here, like weddings. What did they do before the deck here, John, for weddings?
Oh, well, Chip, back in the day, we always used a lot of hand labor. To have weddings, they had to have a flat area for them to stand on, because literally this hill just goes right down.
Yeah.
So we would haul platforms down here and build concrete blocks to hold them and get them level, so people could actually sort of stand on the level without falling backwards when they were getting married. And so it was a good need. I mean, because really there wasn't any good flat spot to stand on this. And so the other thing with the benches, there used to just be 2 rows of benches when I first came here, and they were just posts in the ground with boards that were all painted green. Some of you guys probably remember that. But they were rotting, and so like in 1988, we had a few weddings scheduled, and so we rebuilt, took the rotted post out and put green treated post in, and then put green treated boards on top, and that made it much nicer to sit on and not have to worry about rot and holding moisture as much. And then we used this so much that we added a 3rd row, and that's back in the 80s and 90s, and now they're starting to.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. And we found another type of bench, I think, it's more comfortable to sit on, that doesn't do the teeter-totter or the wobble-bobble on you while you're sitting. And so we're sort of refurbishing the chapel here with
Yeah, and what has made that refurbishment possible is generous donations from one of our alumni and supporters in memory of her husband, and so she has provided funds to help allow us to replace the benches and put the new bench seating in, and so we're in the process of accomplishing that. And just one of the ways that people make a big difference for us here at camp, and allow us to keep improving, make sure camp is here in the future, make sure that we can keep up some of these projects.
So there's not much I got to say about the chapel, but it's a nice spot in the summertime to come down in the shade. It gets used a lot for kids having Bible study, or people just reflecting on their own relationship with God, sitting down here listening to the trees, collecting nature. You don't have to have a minister preaching to you, let the nature preach to you. And then for weddings, and then whoever wants to hike and just take a moment down here.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, John. You know what our theme is for Summer 21, right?
Oh, yeah.
Creation speaks, you know, and I think you just nailed it right there. There's a lot of times where we can just go out into this place and find a spot at Wesley Woods and hear from God. And this is one of those spots where we have a lot of people that just come down here, sit, reflect, relax, and pray, and hear from the Lord. And just sometimes it's good to find just peace, you know, a place that allows you to stop and think and reflect. And sometimes we just get so busy and running so much, we don't allow God's voice to come through all that hustle and bustle. So camp is one of those places that we encourage slowing down and listening. You know, sometimes it's good to talk less and listen more. 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
Yeah.
And in this time, it's sometimes that's such a blessing, is just those quiet places apart. And that's what one of the things we strive to provide at Wesley Woods.
Besides kicking leaves.
Kicking leaves, yeah. It's like walking on potato chips right now here at camp. The leaves are a little crunchy. You can do something for us in this video. You know, put in the comments, you know, pictures if you've had an event down here, a wedding or a get-together that has involved the chapel. Drop a picture in the comments so we can see pictures from your wedding potentially.
And I got probably one short thing was, if you remember the old altar and came out here, you'd always see that someone put a flower on it. Mardell Hancock, a lot of people, you know Mardell Hancock, you could probably tell stories about her. She would put it down here in memory of her husband who passed away. So
yeah, a lot of memories, and this place and this spot within this place means so much to a lot of people, and all the memories and connections they have here. So it's just, there's not much here. There's seating and an altar, but the not much here has impacted people a lot.
yeah.
So thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to crunch through the leaves and sign off, I guess.
Okay.